Let's get to Pat McAfee because he was hyping up the NFC North and the Detroit Lions a little bit. So we're going to play this clip from the Pat McAfee show, and then we're going to give our thoughts on it because whenever Pat speaks about the Detroit Lions, it's very important that we play it and we react to it. So here's Pat McAfee. Let's hear what he had to say.
It's Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears. That's how everybody sees it up there.
I don't know who is everybody. I don't know who has the Lions in front of the Packers at the moment. I feel like
everybody,
literally everyone. AJ,
the Packers have a lot of momentum behind them.
For sure. The Lions don't have momentum on them. They just had the biggest draft of all time.
The Lions definitely are considered, at least like, publicly.
You got to prove that you are. You got to prove. I think that you are the one once you are the target. Once people expect you to be, people say, "Hey, you're the head of the class." Okay, you got to continue to be the head of the class for the next 4 or 5 years if you want to prove and show everybody, yeah, that's us. We have arrived.
I agree with that. And also, Foxy doesn't really do this, but Lions fans in general, like I understand they went to the NFC Championship last year, but now all of a sudden Lions fans are acting like they've won 12 Super Bowls in the last 30 years. That's Buffalo football like, too. Yeah, by bingo. The way, to a T.
Same thing. So it's like,
yeah, I understand the hype is there, but I agree. Like, I mean, last year, I guess they kind of did at the back half of the season, but you're getting everybody's best shot now.
It's good though,
guys. We did that last year, though. They were expected to win the NFC North last year. They won the NFC North. They won 2 playoff games. They go to the NFC Championship. They should have been in the Super Bowl. They probably should have won the Super Bowl. So I think we got everyone's best shot last year.
You can do that every single year with any team.
Yeah, we should have been in the Super Bowl as well. The Colts. We almost made the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. No, you guys lost.
Yeah, I mean to the Niners who beat the Lions, and
the Packers are glad though. It's good. The Packers want everyone in the NFC North to get better and continue to get better so we're battle tested once we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, you're gonna have to beat the best teams anyways.
Yeah.
But Foxy, congrats to the Lions being the team.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Now, heavy is the head, brother.
Yeah, now we got to go. And also, we have new uniforms and new alternate uniforms that are awesome as well. So Lions are ready.
Nobody's talking about them. Everybody's talking about the Vikings.
Yeah. Well, ours are black ones. Ours are awesome. There's like the old school, like Calvin Johnson days.
What do they call them?
I'm going to guess that they're called the Midnight Motor City uniforms.
Oh, that's not a bad name.
I totally just made that up.
Okay.
Dark mode.
We know the Lions PR guy's really good at stuff, so I assume he thought of a great name and had that entire situation pop off.
All right. So there's a lot to break down here. Okay. I just want to say, Foxy, you held your own. All right. You held your own. And we do appreciate how you represent the city and represent Lions fans all across the country. Now, Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk, which by the way, AJ Hawk, yeah, we understand you played, like 8 seasons with the Packers. So there's a little bit of bias there already. So we understand that. But the thing I'm confused by is the whole, and what Ty said about, Lions fans think they won all these Super Bowls. I mean, yeah, the team is good. And they're not just good. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. Lions fans have every right to be excited and every right to think that they're the shit. Because last year they went out and proved that they're the shit. Like, you don't think Lions fans know that every team is going to play their best against the Lions? Like, yeah, that comes with the territory. Like, you don't think teams wake up on game day against the Chiefs, the 49ers, and think we got to play our best football? Like, yeah, that's what comes with it. So it was funny listening to this conversation. Like, yeah, Lions, I think should be favorites to go win in the NFC North. Jordan Love, I think if I'm a Packers fan and you're comparing the situations, I think I'm a little more eerie of Jordan Love repeating what he did than the Lions, given Jared Goff's track record and given what this offense has been. I think defensively, yeah, there's some question marks, but Jordan Love, 1 season, he's a great quarterback, by the way. But I think it's a little more egregious for Packers fans to pump their chest out when Jordan Love showed us 1 year of tape, even though he's really good. But like Lions fans, every right to think they're favorites, boys. Every right.
Boys, what are we doing here? AJ Hawk, Todd, like, guys, the Detroit, it's not even just last season. And I'll break this down for you guys real quick. And for the Packers people and fans, we've talked to Tom Greisley, we've talked to Packers reporters. The Detroit Lions weren't just good last year. They ended the 2022 season 8-2 and went on ended the year winning 8 out of the final 10 games. And then when you're coming to the next year, they're favored to win the NFC North next year. And there's same conversations that these Packers fans are having. I'm sure AJ Hawk, Ty Schmidt, Pat McAfee, I'm sure the same people were saying the same things. Oh, they're favored, but they need to go out and prove it. They need to go out and prove it. They need to show us they can do it. Remember, this is the Detroit Lions. And guess what they did? They went out and won 12 games and dominated the NFC North, went to the NFC Championship game, and did what people said, hey, you guys need to go prove it. And now all of a sudden, because the Packers, again, Jeff, I'm with you. Jordan Love, good quarterback, proved it last year. But guess what? Only had an 8-game stretch down the second half of the season to where he proved it. If we're talking about the Detroit Lions, if you're going to make those comments that the Detroit Lions need to prove it more, they're on top now, but they need to prove it more. The Packers need to do that first. The Bears need to do that. The Vikings need to do that. Those are the teams that have more to prove than the Detroit Lions. That's just a fact. The Detroit Lions are up front right now, and when you have Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, when you have those guys up front and you watch some of these press conferences, they're not giving it up. Nothing's going to stand in their way, and no one's going to come up from behind and come at them. That's just not going to happen. Yeah, it might be a little bit of a battle, but it will not happen. The young core that you've built up winning football games, having Dan Campbell at the helm, having Ben Johnson come back, Aaron Glenn come back, not talked about enough. Both of your coordinators are coming back. You have your quarterback back, Jahmyr Gibbs back. Everyone is coming back. And you dominated the NFC North last year. Those guys, break it down. Instead of just saying, oh, this is the Detroit Lions, that's still the SOL stuff that the people have in their head. Ty and AJ Hawk, because you guys are Packers fans. Think about the brand new Lions. Move on from the SOL stuff. What are we doing here?
Well, Booner, real quick.
Old news.
They can't sneak up from behind. They can't sneak up from behind because what are you doing in the front? What are you doing in the front?
You're leading from the front.
There you go.
Listen, let's get that get that out of your mind, NFC North fans. If you're a Bears fan, Vikings fans, Packers fans, AJ Hawk, get that out of your mind. This is no longer the SOL Lions. This is the brand new Lions. When they're up front, they stay up front. Dan Campbell will do everything to win these games.
Yeah,
if we can go one-on-one, AJ Hawk. Maybe not in football, but we can go one-on-one on something. Maybe a game of pool. I don't know.
Go-kart, Boone.
Go-karts, me and you. AJ Hawk, I challenge you. Me, mano y mano.
Yeah, no, Boone, that was a masterclass, Boone. That was a Booner masterclass. But I just find it ironic that we hear all this rah-rah about the Houston Texans and how they're Super Bowl contenders when they beat the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski. It's a whole different story. And they got mollywopped in the AFC divisional round. And they brought in Danielle Hunter, and they had a good draft class. They brought in all this free agency, and now they're Super Bowl contenders. But because they're in the AFC South, not the NFC North, to your point, Booner, with AJ Hawk, the Lions, I think, are probably one of the most legitimate rebuilds that we've seen in the NFL probably in the past 5-10 years. I think there's other ones that have been successful. For example, the 49ers when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch got there. But when you look at how that rebuild went, there was a lot more bumps in the road. And right when they started winning, right when they made it to the NFC Championship, right when they made it to the Super Bowl, people were talking all that shit about them, how they're constantly going to be contenders. And I understand that they've been to the Super Bowl. If you really watch this Lions team, where their weaknesses were and how they filled them, I understand you have to go out there and prove it. So there's always going to be the critics about it. But it's just a matter of time. And I just think that's what you can say all this now. But when you're talking about week 17, week 18, the Lions are going to be number one in the NFC North. I think the Packers are going to be close and right behind them. But when you look at the Packers roster, you look at the Lions roster, I just think there's difference in levels to it, especially in the offensive line and in the backfield. When you talk about how to win games in the playoffs, that's how it's done, and playing good football and stopping the run, which the Lions were already elite at, and they just brought in DJ Reader. So I think if you want to be a naysayer with the Lions, that's fine, but I just think it's purely ignorant when you look at some of the other rosters around the NFL. People want to say the Baltimore Ravens are constantly Super Bowl contenders. What do the Baltimore Ravens always do in the playoffs? Choke. The Lions, they showed up year one, went to the NFC Championship game. The Baltimore Ravens missed multiple wild card rounds, and I understand that they've been a great franchise from the Ray Lewis and Ed Reed days, but they're not that team right now, and I understand they brought in Derrick Henry, but if you're going to throw the Baltimore Ravens up there, look at their roster and tell me how much better it is compared to the Detroit Lions, and I just don't think it's much.
No, go on.
I'm saying the conversation going around the NFL for the Detroit Lions should not be that. It should not be, can the Detroit Lions hold on? Oh, the Packers are the ones now to be chased down. The Packers. No, it should be the Detroit Lions right now should be being praised and being spotlighted as a Super Bowl contender. The fact that that's the conversation outside of the Detroit Lions being true Super Bowl contenders for the first time in 40 years, That should be the only conversation that's being had. That's where my mindset is. The Packers, yes, okay, cool. NFC North, maybe they'll compete a little bit. Cool. The Detroit Lions are Super Bowl contenders. They're 4th in the odds for the Super Bowl. That's the conversation. It's not that, oh, are the Detroit Lions really the front runners for the NFC North? Buddy, they're 4th for the Super Bowl odds. They're Super Bowl contenders. Let's get it right. Just like AJ Hawk, when you were in Green Bay, you guys were Super Bowl contenders and dominated the NFC North. The Detroit Lions are Super Bowl contenders and will continue to dominate the NFC North.
Well, that's the thing. That's the point, is this isn't the AJ Hawk Packers. And this isn't the Lions teams that he's faced. Like, we have to get out of our mind Aaron Rodgers and the Packers now against who the Lions were at that time. This is a new era for both teams. New quarterback for the Packers, and they had a great year last year. I don't want to take anything away from them, but also a new era for Lions football. So, if you're going off the same old Lions or any of that those dumb acronyms, then you're wrong. And to all the points you guys made, it's just like, yeah, the Lions should be respected based on what they did last year. And I get it. It's one season in terms of reaching that type of success, but there's nothing in my mind based off what the evidence we have in front of us to suggest that they'll regress. Obviously the injuries, that would be like the only thing, but bringing back your coordinators, Jared Goff, he's already proven he has a big sample size, 2 Super Bowls, NFC Championship games, playoff wins, best offensive line in football. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's the best wide receiver between the two teams. I'll take Sam Laporta in terms of a tight end. I mean, we can go position by position. And in the Lions, it's not just what they did as a team. Like, this is a stacked roster. They got dudes. Excuse me. So, yeah, listen, I love Pat McAfee, but the whole, like, I get they were kind of trolling to some extent as well, but shout out Foxy, because the Lions are here and they are not going anywhere as long as Brad Holmes is in charge.